You've probably heard of the term censorship, but what does it mean? And who censors material? In this video, we will be explaining just that. First, let's define censorship. What is it? In broad terms, censorship occurs when individuals, groups, or government officials decide that certain images, information, or ideas are so objectionable that no one should have access to them. This so-called offensive content can be found in books, magazines, films, videos, or works of art. Censorers succeed when the materials are edited, restricted to particular audiences, or removed from public access, no matter if that access is at a library, school, bookstore, art gallery, or other institution. You might have an idea in your head about who attempts censorship, but individuals who try to censor materials come from a variety of backgrounds and have many different viewpoints. Censorship attempts often get rationalized because the censoring party thinks that there is a clear distinction between something that is good and morally uplifting and something that is wrong and morally corrupting. They believe that their actions will prevent other people from being negatively influenced. But can you think of any instance where things were really that cut and dry? Arguments can be made for and against the value of any piece of media, and it's doubtful that there's anything that 100% of people would agree is 100% good or bad. So what are some of the reasons people have for trying to censor materials? The most frequent things that get censored include depictions of nudity, sexuality or violence, offensive language, LGBTQIA+ content, political or religious beliefs, adult content, or things that are not appropriate for children. But is censorship really something that is still happening now? In the United States? Yes, all the time. What about the First Amendment? Doesn't that make censorship illegal? Actually, no. The First Amendment states that Congress cannot make laws that limit free speech. Many different Supreme Court cases have established that government censorship is a violation of the First Amendment, but also that not all speech is considered free speech. Things like obscenity and fighting words, or speech that incites violence or harm, are not protected. However, it is increasingly non-governmental institutions and private companies that are making decisions about censorship and what can and cannot have an accessible platform. For example, if you listen to the radio, you're probably exposed to censorship on a daily basis. Many commercial radio stations play edited versions of songs that remove curse words, references to sex or drugs. In late 2018, social networking site Tumblr banned all adult content. As a private company, they can decide what their platform allows, but their policy still led to widespread censorship. And the transition showed how hard it is to enforce such a broad and hard-to-define ban, as some of Tumblr's own examples of content that was still permitted were hidden after its filtering system automatically flagged them as adult. In the world of libraries and schools, the American Library Association's Office for Intellectual Freedom, or OIF, tracks censorship attempts. But the OIF's numbers rely on news stories and voluntary reports, and they estimate as many as 80 to 90% of challenges go uncounted each year. There was also an increase in challenges to library programming, particularly drag queen story hours. The book that had the most challenges in 2018 was George by Alex Gino, which is about a transgender girl who wishes she could play Charlotte in her 4th grade class's production of Charlotte's Web. According to the OIF, George was banned, challenged, and relocated because it was believed to encourage children to queer browser history and change their bodies using hormones, and for mentioning dirty magazines, describing male anatomy, creating confusion, and including a transgender character. One of the principles of librarianship is intellectual freedom, which very simply is the right of every individual to both seek and receive information from all points of view without restriction. Censorship restricts points of view, and that's why librarians attempt to fight censorship even when they might not personally agree with every aspect of the challenged content. The best way for anyone who wants to start to fight against censorship: be vocal when you see censorship taking place in your local community, and keep informed about what sorts of materials are being censored and the reasons why.